This adventure takes place in Namibia and starts out from the capital, Windhoek.
In this episode, Ben and I are going to show you how to explore Namibia independently.
We start out from the urban camp, a campsite within the city limits. From Windhoek, we head west towards the coast. There are multiple ways to get to the coast. The most obvious is a paved highway with a lane in each direction, but we opt for a dirt road. In fact, most of Namibia's roads are dirt.
We go down to the Naukluft Park.
Namibia is a desert country, but it's not all sand dunes as most people think. There are vast plains, valleys, and mountains, and all kinds of landscapes, but all of them have one thing in common: they're dry. Ben is looking for routes down to a riverbed.
Alright, what's the plan, Stan?
Off the main road down to the river, and
River? There's a river out here?
right next to the sand dunes.
Giant rock formations in the middle of the desert. Home to flies and strange plants. In the distance, I spot desert zebra. Later on, we spotted horses in the distance. And finally, we spot the red dunes, which indicate the river nearby. Even though the riverbeds are dry, the green areas provide food for the elephants. Where they drink, I don't know. It's getting late in the day, so it's time for us to find a place to camp. We're air camping, which means we camp wherever we want.
There's a nice big spot there. You can go around.
Do you call these wine glasses because I'm going to wine? It's better than the Spanish wine I buy for $1 a liter. Packing up to go.
Ben has discovered that we have a diesel leak. He claims it's only a few drops. Time will tell.
Emergency drinking water is available. That's yours.
Oh, I'm using your drinking water.
Thank goodness.
The one with a rubbery taste.
Oh.
Let's go.
Once we start driving, Ben smells diesel fuel. It turns out that the leak is a big issue.
Let's get to town and have the car repaired. Why not?
Ben likes to eat lunch in open spaces near the sand dunes.
Lunch time.
He's quite organized when it comes to meal times.
I like a little calcium shell. Don't have to take vitamins in the morning. That would be a 6-egg omelet.
Ben detailing the car. He noticed some bird droppings on the car, so he wants to open up a detailing business on this spot, it seems. Time to get back on the main road and head to town. But before we reach Swakopmund, Ben discovers a playground for boys. The route from here is either along the beach or on a paved road. Swakopmund is a traditional German town displaced from Germany and located in the deserts of Namibia. We spent the night in Swakopmund in order to have the fuel leak repaired the next day. We continue from the town of Swakopmund. We head south on the main and only highway. The road ends at a salt plant on the south side of town. Time to let some air out of the tires and engage four-wheel drive. Our objective is Sandwich Harbor, but there are no roads leading to Sandwich Harbor. Just inshore tracks and beach sand and dune driving. We opted for the inland option.
We've trusty maps for Africa. We are heading approximately back to the coast.
The problem with large sand dunes is Ben's little car struggles to get over the top, in this case to even reach the top. But Ben is determined. Ben gets out and looks for alternatives. If you can't get over it, then go around it. We're still looking for a way around that big dune. This lowland option is a maze, and the slippery black muck is easy to get stuck in. Success! Back in the dunes, we find a track. At last we reach the coast again, and the border of the Namib-Naukluft National Park. We continue south along the beach, where we meet a girl sunbathing. But she doesn't like Ben's paparazzi photo style. Okay, maybe just one more photo. Late in the day, we ran out of beach. We had reached a point where the dunes ended in the surf. We decided to set up another free camp for the night. These are the classic surreal images of Namibia.
Real man's chakalaka beans and onions.
Wow.
Just north of Sandwich Harbor.
Good morning on day 4.
Ben has noticed that his wheels are not turning properly.
It's spinning.
This one is spinning.
And the rear one? Was the right one spinning? No, it's just spinning on one side. So I gotta get that fixed.
But first, we need to dig the car out. Our goal? Return to Swakopmund. In Wolfish Bay, Ben finds a place that can take a look at the diff lock. Starts out from the old German town of Swakopmund. After checking out the wreck, we turned inland towards the Brandberg Range. Late in the day, we found a sheltered spot to set up camp for the night. We were camped in the middle of nowhere.
Today's objective is to go to the Kuanib River.
The Messam crater was formed by the collapse of a volcano around 135 million years ago. Well, it looks like we've reached an impasse. We soon find the riverbed dry and drivable again. From the Messam crater this morning, we did a lot of dusty and remote driving to reach this even more remote camp on the Guntaga.
I'm impressed.
Breakfast.
The last time we visited this area, we managed to travel up the Kuanib River, but this year we couldn't find a way, so Ben doubled back to the Ugab River and we will use a ridge trail that parallels the Kuanib. Once up on the ridge, the track looks pretty good. Breaking down out here is not an option. We've dropped down from the ridge and rejoined the Kuanib. Out of the river and taking a shortcut towards the Kuanib River. We've made it to the Kuanib River. We need to get to the other side. Uh-oh, the tracks lead to a deep muddy waterhole. But Ben is determined to build a route across. Ready, set, go! One river crossing accomplished. Time to set up camp. Day 8 starts on the bank of the Kuanib River. We are heading downstream, but Ben wants to do a bit of exploring along the way. We need to leave the river and head north, but there is no clear track on our maps. We need to cross that expanse. We will have to head back down the way we came, and then follow the river downstream a bit further before turning north. It's almost 5 o'clock. We've been driving for hours across the upper plains. Then we came down this tributary and then crossed a road going north. But as you can see, the road has problems. This is C35, the main highway north in the Skeleton Coast National Park. Here sand dunes move with the winds and ignore the road boundaries. At the Kuanib, we exit the highway and enter the riverbed heading upstream. We're camped in the dunes, Skeleton Coast National Park. Ben is loading up the car. We are the only customers of the Skeleton Coast National Park today.
Yes, we've been charging too long our batteries in GPS last night. I got my new nice little device with 15,000 milliamperes. I hope this is going to do the job.
This morning we were on the coast. By midday we are approaching the Kuanib River and scary memories from the past. Back when we camped here in 2013, we didn't know that 3 lions had made this waterhole their exclusive dinner spot. As we got closer to the Kuanib River, the vegetation increased, as did the wildlife. Fresh elephant droppings? It reminds me of 2013 when we were here and came across a herd of desert elephants dusting.
Well, dust storm. Not sure if there's more dust inside or outside.
From the lion camp, we made our way up the Kuanib River and out to the town of Sesfontein. We were told that the diesel truck might arrive in a few days, so we checked out the old German fort, now a lodge, for accommodation options in their defunct campground.
In this episode, Ben and I are going to continue to show you how to explore Namibia independently.
Day 10 starts out from Sesfontein Lodge to Opuvu because there's no diesel here. It's an easy 123 kilometer drive to Opuvu on an actual gravel road. luxurious compared to the last few days of driving. Opuvu is a crossroad of local cultures. The only highlight on this stretch of road is the Swakopmund Memorial, commemorating South Africans that went to Angola for a better life, but were eventually kicked out in the late 1920s.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you, bye-bye.
Ben starts his daily search for a remote and free campsite.
Our camp for the night. What's the name of the river? Oh, okay. Comes with a fresh gator swimming pool.
End of day 10.
Whew, it's hot out here.
Free push service. Curbside street vendors.
2, 3. Bye-bye.
When we had to stop for a nature call, we discovered that there are no isolated spots along this stretch of river.
7. Very good.
From the Kuanib Riverside Free Camp, we followed the new dirt road northwest to Atocha village, where I insisted that we stay at an upscale $10 per person campsite. The riverside view of the world-famous Atocha Falls was a good reason to stay. But more importantly, it was for the luxurious swimming pool. After an easy night, we exited luxury and started our drive south towards Okamwati village. We then left the dirt road and started on a difficult four-wheel drive track that would take us into the most remote parts of Namibia for over a week. Every time the locals saw us coming, they would run out to meet us. We were potential customers, entertainment, and charity.
Very good. Bye-bye. Sugar.
The left rear wheel continued to leak slowly.
Good thing you invested in a compressor.
Really good high-end Chinese pumper.
That's what you want? Suka? Thank you.
As the day wore on, the track became progressively harder. More road work.
Check.
We were at the top of the Ziles Pass, and our goal was the Marienfloss Valley below.
There's the trail.
A desert stone man, Andrew Rogers, created this sculpture. The artist created these men of Kawoko land in the remotest reaches of Namibia. finally at the bottom of the pass. After a brief stop at the foot of the pass to look at the memorabilia, we set off across the Marienfloss Plains. Our world had changed a lot in a day. We started from a luxury lodge in a pupa and ended the day in a free camp in the lovely and remote Marienfloss. We were in a savanna film scene out of time. Can it get any better than this? Day 13 finds us breaking camp in the lovely and remote Marienfloss Plains. Another child. And one more wanders naked out of the desert. We are crossing out of one valley, over a ridge, and into another valley. Some locals are also crossing over. Ben offers them and the dog some water from our rubber-tasting Swiss bladder. They all get a refill. Three bottles and 3 bowls of water later, we set off.
Exclusive use area. Well, I'm planning on using it exclusively.
This place is so exclusive that $500 a night guests are flown in on private charters, but that has never stopped Ben before.
How do you get down? Over this cliff?
Let's give it a try. Well, that wasn't very dramatic. It looks like the car's frame is hung up on the rocks. Stuck on a cliff and nowhere to go. Plan B is to dig out some sand, raise the rear end, place the sand grids, and then try to back off the rocks. Okay, time to get the big boy out, the hijack. The front has been raised. Now time for the back end. Now to give it a try. Success! Ben's car doesn't have the horsepower to go back up the slopes. We're effectively stuck in this little bowl. The only way out is over and down. It's now or never. He makes it over the first hurdle. Now down the sand slope without losing control of the back end to the following sand. He made it.
Man, that was a steep descent.
Bradwin, the manager, welcomes us and tells Ben that they haven't seen a car here in over 2 years. They then retire to the lounge to discuss accommodation options. What? No camping? Thanks for the iced tea and sending us helpers on the ridge, but we'll be on our way now. Once away from the resort, we started the long and indirect traverse back up onto the plateau. We've broken camp and are ready to plan the next leg. We're heading west towards the Skeleton Coast National Park. Uh-oh, the leaking left rear tire has finally given up and gone flat. I recognize this guy from Zal's Pass. It's one of Andrew Rogers' men of Kakoa land.
Computer out here.
You're supposed to self-register.
almost back.
It's a good thing we're in the middle of nowhere.
We're getting low on fuel and no reserve in the jerry cans. We're back out of the door of the Kuanib River. This time we turn north rather than south. Last night we air camped north of the Kuanib River. After breaking camp, we continued north. Traffic on D3707 was light. Last time we were here, they were out of diesel. We're heading southeast to a rumor of a desert oasis, a new campground worth a visit. For a small fee, you can use the pool for the day. This spot is surreal. And all good things must come to an end. Time to hit the dust again. We're heading into the Kawara Gorge. We hope to use this four-wheel drive route as a shortcut to Atocha National Park. We rejoined the river a short time later. Today we started from the lower Kuanib, and we end the day camped on the banks of the upper Kuanib again. Parrots, a noisy start to day 17. Today Ben is sick. He's sleeping in the car.
Tea time for Ben. How you feeling, Ben?
Better.
Out of the gorge and into the dust. And while Ben napped again, I checked out the water hole.
Paved road.
The Oppie is an overland's heaven.
Out this way through all this dust. Yeah, and then we went down to Kamajap, great tar road, new one.
Day 18's objective is the Atocha National Park. Today was mostly a driving day, from Kanamjab to Otio and then north to Atocha. We zipped through the park and then shot south to Somber, where we spent 2 nights at the community campground. And yes, the pool was included. Today we visit the Orongo Mountains, and Ben spots a sidetrack that needs to be explored. As we returned to the main dirt track, we spotted rain clouds in the distance. Time to find a campsite for the night. Day 21 started warm and calm. We noticed a hand-painted sign indicating Sand People Living Museum and pulled over. Making fire the old-fashioned way.
judge over the roof from the ostrich eggshells. The wood and the plants seem to decorate with wine glasses.
From the Sand People, we drove south and then west to the Spitzkop Range, where we stopped at some desert stalls selling minerals. Namibia is rich in minerals, and the locals collect pretty samples to sell to tourists.
Hot?
Yes.
Do you go to school?
Yes.
Where's your school?
A community campground in these mountains is today's objective. It's the end of day 21.
Where's the menu?
There's only chakalaka and beans on the menu, sorry.
Early on day 22, we broke our Spitzberg camp and headed back off-road, following a route north from the Tracks for Africa series. Our objective was the Omaruru River, another dusty, dry riverbed. An area with a natural spring changes the color of the landscape.
Made it out of the riverbed. It's a nice 40-something degree day.
We're heading west by northwest toward another riverbed. Back in the Ugab, but this time much further upstream.
This is an actual spring. It's wet year-round, even if it's 43 degrees out here.
Green means water and wildlife.
And the problem is, over there are the elephants. We backpedal because of the elephants anyway, right? Turn back and do a detour? Okay, let's go find a bypass.
That is a big elephant footprint. I didn't have time to focus, and Ben didn't have time to hang around. An elephant approaching with ears flapping signals danger. I guess that was the owner of that footprint.
Some more elephants blocking the way.
Time for another detour. 2 more elephants, but this time they're safely off to our side.
Uh-oh.
More angry elephants in our way. Time to move quickly and get ahead of them.
Hey, where were we today?
We made it back to the old spot we've been before after doing a big loop. This is the Kuanib River off the Ugab River.
It must be time to cook again because I can see the preparation is starting for the onions and the chakalaka.
Two of our friends from yesterday evening, perhaps. We paced these guys for a while, since we knew that they would probably be the last elephants that we would cross on this Namibia off-road adventure. They didn't seem to mind our presence as long as we kept our distance. Naturally, we had to stop at the main attraction along this barren stretch of coast. Shark bait. A hobby that I don't understand. We spent that night and the next day relaxing in Swakopmund, and then on the 24th day we returned to Windhoek by boring highway. Ben then left Namibia, and I hung around for another week to catch up on the local sites and history. This was a 23-day off-road four-wheel drive adventure in remote places with wildlife in the harshest of environments, surreal landscapes, and the most memorable people. It was a real-world adventure indeed. Bye-bye Namibia.